For thousands of years, the Egyptian pyramids have captured our imagination. Their sheer scale and incredible precision almost seem, well, impossible. In this explainer, we're going to examine the archaeological evidence to understand how an ancient civilization pulled off one of the greatest engineering feats in all of human history.
You know, to really appreciate the pyramids, we have to start with their incredible age. For more than 4,500 years, these structures have stood there, pretty much unchanged, watching entire empires rise and fall. They are some of the oldest and most durable monuments humanity has ever created.
And the scale? It's just staggering. The Great Pyramid of Giza, just by itself, is made of over 2 million individual stone blocks. And many of these aren't small, they weigh several tons. Some of the biggest granite pieces weigh as much as a modern bus.
But it's not just about the size. The real marvel here is the precision. These massive blocks were cut, moved, and fitted together with an accuracy that, even today, is a subject of study and absolute admiration for modern engineers. It's a true puzzle of ancient genius.
So that brings us to our main question. How did a civilization from the Bronze Age actually achieve this? What kind of methods did they use? And what mysteries are we still uncovering to this day? To get to the solutions, we first have to really appreciate the problem they were facing. For a very long time, building the pyramids seemed like a completely impossible feat for that era.
Just think about some of these achievements. The Great Pyramid was the tallest man-made structure on the planet for almost 4,000 years. Its massive base is level to within less than an inch. And get this, it's aligned to true north more accurately than many of our modern buildings. This shows a deep understanding of geometry and astronomy. Now, all of that becomes even more remarkable when you consider what they were working without. They had no hard iron tools, they were using softer copper, they didn't have cranes or pulleys or even wheels to move those heavy loads, and to this day, no definitive architectural blueprints have ever been found.
So you have this massive gap, right, between the incredible results they got and the simple tools they had. For decades, that gap was filled with all sorts of speculative theories. Everything from help from aliens to knowledge from a lost civilization like Atlantis.
The reality, though, the one that careful archaeological work is uncovering, is in many ways far more impressive. It wasn't aliens, it was us. The pyramids are an incredible testament to the power of human planning, organization, and problem-solving.
This brings us to the core of our investigation. Let's start separating some of those persistent myths from the actual archaeological facts.
Okay, maybe the biggest myth of all is that the pyramids were built by slaves, forced into labor. But the evidence we have points to a completely different story. The builders were skilled workers, probably a mix of full-time employees and seasonal laborers, who took a whole lot of pride in their work. And we know this because of excavations of the villages right near the pyramids. Archaeologists have found bakeries that could produce thousands of loaves of bread every single day. They found skeletons with bones that healed, which tells us they had access to medical care. The workers were buried with honor near the pharaoh's tombs, and they even left behind graffiti with their team names, like the Drunkards of Menkaure, showing a real sense of camaraderie and even friendly competition. So now let's get into the how. The Egyptians didn't need high technology, because they had come up with brilliantly effective, low-tech solutions to these huge challenges.
So how did they cut those massive limestone blocks out of the quarry? Well, the process was simple, but absolutely ingenious. Workers would cut grooves into the rock with copper chisels. Then, they'd hammer in dry wooden wedges, pour water all over them, and just wait. As the wood soaked up the water and expanded, the immense pressure would split the stone right along the line they wanted. Okay, so you've cut your multi-ton block. Moving it seems like the next impossible task. But the solution was based on a simple bit of physics. They'd place the blocks on these large wooden sleds, and, just like we see in ancient artwork, a worker would walk in front and pour water on the sand. This simple act made the sand firm, cutting the friction by almost half, and it allowed a pretty small team to haul that massive weight across the desert. And what about that incredible precision? Well, to get a perfectly level base, they likely carved a grate of channels into the bedrock, filled them up with water, and then just chipped away the rock down to that perfectly flat waterline. And for that true north alignment, they used the stars. Through careful observation and simple geometry, they achieved an alignment that is, frankly, just astounding. But here's the thing. The story isn't over. The pyramids are not a closed book. Modern technology is letting us peer inside these ancient structures in brand new ways, and it's revealing that they still hold a lot of secrets. Back in 2017, scientists made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the world of Egyptology. They found a hidden space,
a void inside the Great Pyramid that measures over 100 feet long. Now, this was discovered using a technique called cosmic ray scanning, which basically lets us see inside the pyramid without drilling a single hole. It's a perfect example of how new technology can reveal ancient secrets. And yet, the purpose of this huge void remains a complete mystery. And that's not the only puzzle that's left. Thermal scans have revealed weird temperature spots on the pyramid's surface, which could hint at hidden passages or chambers. The mortar that holds the stones together is another enigma. Its chemical makeup is so complex and durable that we still can't fully replicate it today. With every new discovery, we're just reminded of how much we still have to learn. The pyramids are so much more than just ancient artifacts. They're a source of knowledge and inspiration that continues to be relevant today. The challenges the Egyptians overcame are actually still relevant. Modern project managers study the logistics of how they coordinated such a massive workforce without any of our modern communication tools. Engineers study the pyramid structure to understand how to distribute heavy loads and even how to design for earthquake resistance. The lessons are truly timeless.
Ultimately, the pyramids offer a really profound reminder. They show us that great achievement isn't just dependent on the technology we have. The ability to observe, to creatively solve problems, and to cooperate on a massive scale, that's a fundamental part of the human experience. And that is the true legacy of the pyramid builders. They prove that the most powerful and enduring tool we have ever created is, and has always been, the organized, curious, and collaborative human mind.